Hello and welcome, especially to all the apprentices from Kent Business College. Today, we're going to dive into something incredibly important: how a country like the UK tries to defend itself against the threat of radicalization and terrorism. It's a massive, complex topic, so let's get right into it.
So, let's kick things off with a really big question, because it gets right to the heart of the whole challenge. See, fighting terrorism isn't just about stopping bombs or physical attacks. It's about confronting the ideas that lead to that violence in the first place. So, how on earth do you fight something you can't even see?
Well, before we can even try to answer that, we've got to be on the same page about what we're actually talking about. So, first things first, let's define the threat.
Okay, at its core, this is the definition we're working with. And what you'll notice is that it's not about random violence. It's always calculated. The key ingredients are always there: the use or even just the threat of violence, a very specific goal, whether it's political, religious, or ideological, and, this is the big one, the deliberate creation of fear to be used as a weapon against everyone else.
Now, what's so fascinating here is how you can see a massive shift in the kind of threats the UK has faced. For decades, a major threat was from groups like the IRA, where the political aims and the conflict itself were mostly contained to one area. But more recently, the whole game has changed. Now we're looking at a globalized, networked threat, driven by ideologies that can cross borders in an instant thanks to the internet.
But here's the thing: whether that threat is local or global, the basic tactic is always the same. The real goal isn't just the act of violence itself, it's about using that violence to terrorize people. It's to create fear, to drive wedges between different communities, and to fundamentally mess with our way of life.
And that disruption, well, it creates this huge ripple effect that spreads out far beyond the initial event. So what is that wider impact on all of us? Let's take a closer look.
You know, the immediate horror of an attack that we see on the news, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. The real consequences can stretch on for years, and they affect our society in ways that are much less obvious but just as profound.
This slide just lays out those long-term effects perfectly. Terrorism wants to make us more scared in our day-to-day lives. It actively tries to plant seeds of mistrust and suspicion, creating the very divisions that extremists love to exploit. And then, of course, governments respond, often by increasing surveillance and bringing in new laws, which always kicks off a huge debate about that balance between our security and our personal freedom.
And you can see that cause and effect relationship crystal clear right here. Major events have directly changed UK law. The Terrorism Act back in 2000 was a massive step. Then, after the horrific London bombings on July 7, 2005, the focus shifted dramatically towards surveillance and trying to stop plots before they could happen. This led straight to laws like that 2015 Act, which, by the way, we'll be coming back to.
So how does the UK bring all of this together? Is there a master plan? Well, yes, there is, and it's the official blueprint for all counterterrorism work in the country. It's called Contest, but don't let the simple name fool you. This isn't just some policy document sitting on a shelf somewhere. It's the UK's entire strategic framework. It's designed to be a really comprehensive, multi-layered defense against terrorism. But what does that actually mean?
Well, Contest isn't just one single idea. It's much smarter than that. It's a multifaceted approach that's built on 4 distinct but totally interconnected pillars, all designed to work together. And here they are. They're often called the 4 Ps, just to make it easy to remember: prevent, pursue, protect, and prepare. A good way to think about them is like 4 layers of defense, and each one has a very specific job to do.
This table breaks it down perfectly. You can actually see how the strategy moves from being really proactive to, well, reactive if something gets through. Prevent is the most proactive. It's all about stopping the problem at the source. Pursue is about actively stopping plots. Protect is about making our defenses stronger. And finally, prepare is the fail-safe, making sure that if the worst does happen, we can handle it.
All right, for this final section, we're going to zoom right in on that very first pillar: prevent. Why? Because it's the one that deals directly with stopping radicalization before it even starts, and it's where communities and all of us really have a vital role to play.
So the whole idea behind the prevent strategy is early intervention. This is not about catching terrorists in the act, not at all. It's about safeguarding vulnerable people and stopping them from ever going down that dangerous path in the first place. It's a huge shift from just reacting to violence to proactively challenging the very ideas that fuel it. And this quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. Instead of waiting around to respond to a threat, the goal is to stop that threat from ever even developing. It's about building a more resilient society right from the ground up. And this is where it gets really relevant for all of you. That 2015 act we mentioned earlier, it created something called the Prevent Duty. Now, this isn't just guidance or a nice idea, it's a legal responsibility. It's placed on public bodies, and yep, that includes your own college, to actively help prevent people from being drawn into terrorism. Basically, it makes safeguarding against radicalization everyone's business.
Which brings us right back full circle to that big question we started with, but now maybe with a bit of a new angle. The UK strategy is pretty clear. It really needs both the state and the community working together. So I'll leave you with this to think about. As we all try to defend ourselves from an idea, what is our own individual role in building a society that's strong, that's united, and that's truly resilient to extremism?